Inga Briggs. I have Nate Briggs. We live in Dormont. We have lived in the South Hills 11 years. I grew up in the South Hills. The first part of wanting to live here was I knew where everything was. You know, you can't move to the North Hills from the South Hills, or vice versa for that matter. And Inga acquired a job in Pittsburgh right off the bat when we moved back from Germany. So it made sense to kind of settle near the T line in a close community. And we ended up
transportation is pretty important to me. I love riding the T. We do have a daughter. She's 5. And we did at one point think about moving away from Dormont into a bigger house, but decided not to, obviously. Part of the reason being that it is very walkable here. It's easy to be outside, especially with kids who don't walk very far yet. And we also found a great community here on our street. We have a lot of very close friends on our street and believe that that is not something that you can find very easily elsewhere. It's valuable personally, I think, but also as a support system, having kids especially. And now that Mia's 5 and some neighbor kids are around the same age, that is becoming very apparent. So we're going to stick around.
I think it's a very friendly part of the state, country, and world. People tend to get along really well, even though they come from diverse backgrounds. All those communities you mentioned are very diverse. They're diverse internally, but diverse between one another. And it's just a great place to live.
South Hills in particular are diverse in terms of income level as well. Maybe more so than some other areas of the city, if I'm thinking about the North Hills, for example. I would imagine diverse from kind of a professional job perspective. And I think diversity of any kind is adding to the character and to the culture of an area. And for us as a family, having a child, we're looking for places like that to, help raise her to be a wonderful human being.
Well, so like I said, I grew up in the South Hills, so I had known the South Hills. What was it before Interfaith? It was
Ministries.
It was a ministry. So I was relatively aware of it. I didn't know many great details about SHIM until we met Seth 9-10 years ago.
Yeah. Reading
into the materials, it was kind of really interesting to see. I grew up in Upper St. Clair, so it was interesting to see the actual need, even in Upper St. Clair. Again, it's a more affluent neighborhood, but it still has that diversity, and across the spectrum of incomes and everything. So it was interesting to see the need there. I knew there would be a need here in Dormont and KO in general, but it was interesting. So for me, just to see that breadth of the need, it was important to know more and become involved as we could.
I would say that supporting SHIM has become an important part of our giving in general. I think understanding the need in the community, understanding how the organization operates through Seth as well, I think is important to be comfortable with giving. And I think it's also great that there are a lot of different opportunities to give. So whether it is through monetary contributions, whether it is through backpack, school supplies and backpack packing.
We did one of the food pickups during, it was 2021 over at Bethel Park.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, interesting to see the people who help and also see the people who come. We've done the support of the backpack drive a couple years in a row now. What else? You've gone to the garden. You went to the garden party over in Whitehall.
That was great. It was really great to see how people bring their culture to SHIM too, and in that particular case, totally different vegetables than I'm familiar with, and there were some local foods. That was actually really great to have a little bit of a connection to the community that SHIM supports.
Yeah, it's great the variety of opportunities there are and that you provide for everybody. It's extraordinary. Yeah, so even though she was small, like you said, we always are very open with her about people don't have everything you have, or people have other needs that you can't even think about. So she's always engaged in wanting to give what she has to other people as needed or help in any kind of way. You know,
Like her Halloween candy.
tomorrow's Halloween, and for example, you know, she goes out to collect Halloween candy. She gives it all away as kids come over.
Yeah.
That's probably just more the fun part of doing it. But she's definitely engaged in giving. Outside of SHIM, we also support Children's Hospital quite a bit. She made a donation of her own to Children's Hospital this year for the greater good for the DVE Rocks thing. So she's fully understanding of what it means. I
think the first interaction she had with SHIM was the summer festival today, this year, which obviously was more fun, I think, from a kid's perspective, but also included, again, different cultures. I think that's very important to me personally because I grew up in Germany, a different culture, and I want her to, in addition to understanding her own different cultural backgrounds, understand that there is plenty else to explore in the world. I think that's one piece. Nate mentioned understanding that not everybody has the means that we have and the opportunities that we have, and then being very generous, giving to others as well, whether it is, you know, through money or time and effort. And I think it's interesting to us to see that even at the age of 5, those concepts can be very apparent to children, and I would say so far it's pretty ingrained in her character, and I hope that as she grows older she can generate ideas about how she can give back to the community by herself and can become a more active part of that support network in the South Hills. It's hard to give advice to other people about giving because I do think it's a very personal decision, and the match with an organization is a very personal one. I would say that I would encourage anyone to think about the need that is right in front of their doorstep, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. I think it's an easy place to give because you understand the community that you live in already. I think it hits home a little bit more closely, right? Because understanding that there is a need so close to where you are, I find more motivating. And then I would encourage people to, you know, reach out to SHIM and understand, maybe attend some of the events that SHIM is hosting as an easy way to see what different flavors SHIM has to offer as a community, to offer to others. So, yeah, I think it's personal, but I would encourage people to start right in front of their doorstep and understanding what the need is close to their home.
Yeah, and I think most of the people that we would reach out to encourage, you know, in a casual way, which we do for our tribes, would be from the South Hills, so it's easy to communicate those things. But I generally ask people to recognize the situation they're in, the general fortune they have to where they are and what they've worked towards, and think about what other people might have and have to work with. And you know, I never ask people to give more than they are comfortable with. We never suggest anything. It's just think about where you are in life and where others might be at a given moment, and lend a hand as you can. You know, we live in Dormont. I imagine we could look on our street alone and there'd be 5-6 people that could use a hand a couple times a year. So, and it's a hard thing to ask. So if it's out there for organizations like SHIM to offer things across the board, education-wise, food support, the school supplies, you know, anything like that. If somebody needs something and you can provide it, it's a good thing to do.
I would also add, anything is better than nothing, right? And your time is valuable too to organizations and to your community. So giving can happen in many different ways, and I would encourage people to consider that and explore opportunities they can support others in their neighborhood.
I just want to say, I think SHIM as an organization, a group of individuals working towards a common good, is extraordinary. We've met a few of the members who work there, the very small staff that they have serving the entire South Hills to support countless people. Who knows how many they're going to serve in a year, what that's going to grow to, what it's going to shrink to, what the ages are going to be. It's extraordinary. So even supporting SHIM to support those people is a worthy cause.
I think the other piece to add is what I appreciate about SHIM is that there is a focus on helping people find stability and helping themselves in certain ways, and the community garden program is a great example of that. It allows people to bring their culture to SHIM and to the community. It also encourages people, though, to put work in, right? And create their fortune, which I think for a lot of people, I imagine, is important, you know, and in maintaining self-worth as well. And so I think it's a great approach SHIM is taking.
We love SHIM.